Abomination number 8 in our list, abomination number 8 is the corruption of power, injustice, or the abuse of power. Corruption of power, injustice, or the abuse of power. Now, again, how many abominations are there depends on how you group them. I put these together because they seem to flow in a pattern. You have an unjust king, an unjust judge, and an unjust man. Some people might consider those to be different. But nations and societies and cultures fall in this order. You have a corrupt leadership, which is followed by a corrupt judicial system, which is followed by a corrupt society or a corrupt citizenry. So in those three stages is where the culture will deteriorate. You have a corrupt king or corrupt Congress or corruption at the leadership level. Then you have corruption at the judicial level. And then you'll have corruption in a societal level. And this is an abomination before the Lord. Proverbs 16:12 says, "It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness." I want to say that again. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through 4 will show us where the throne is established by righteousness. Romans 13, 1 through 4 says, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God, the powers that are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil." So that all magistrates and all powers are ordained of God, and it is an abomination for those persons who find themselves in leadership to conduct themselves wickedly, because they are cutting against the God that established them in that place of leadership. Next is the unjust judge. Proverbs 17:15, "He that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are abominations unto the Lord." So the one that takes the man who's truly guilty and gets him off, and the man who takes someone who's innocent and gets him condemned, both of those are abominations to have happening in your legal system. Deuteronomy 19:17 through 19 says, "Then both men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be false, a false witness, then and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you." How many circus trials would never have happened if this were the policy? If a witness comes forward and lies in order to incriminate someone else, whatever that person was accused of, that witness shares in that witness takes on that punishment or that retribution for the crime. It'd make a person think twice about bearing false testimony in the courts. The unjust man, Proverbs 29:27, "An unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is in the way is an abomination to the wicked." I think it's interesting God is missing from this particular passage, because until now we've seen this is an abomination unto the Lord, that's an abomination unto the Lord, but here they're an abomination to each other. Proverbs 29:27, one more time, says, "An unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. People with different views, different values, are going to have different priorities, and they will never line up. And they shouldn't. If you have someone that's walking in wickedness and darkness, a spiritual darkness, their values and their priorities are not going to line up to those persons that are walking in the light. 2 Corinthians 6 through 14 through 18, and it's a shame we only use this whenever we're talking about getting married to someone, but it applies socially. 2 Corinthians 6, 14 through 18 says, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?" Verse 16, "And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, as God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. I will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty." And this is just it. If you're in a situation where you don't fit in, then maybe it's time for you to stand out. If you're in a position where you're thinking, you know what, I don't fit in this world, I don't belong in this world. You know what, you're not really supposed to, because the world is a place of darkness, and you are a child of the light. You are a child of God, and everything that happens in this world is really inconsequential whenever it's measured up against your eternity. If you're spending eternity with God, then what happens here is really not that significant. But you are called upon to have virtue. You are called upon to have justice. And the world is not going to recognize that. There are evil kings. There are corrupt judges, judicial systems. And there's a great number of corrupt people. But you are called to come out from that and be made separate. So why? So that God can receive you, that you can be a son or daughter of God, that you will be God's person, and that He will be your God. Friends, I love you. But far more importantly is that God loves you. And I encourage you with everything that's in me to reach out to God in that relationship. For you to love God is the seeds of your salvation. This has been Creationist Kent, bringing you this message in less time than it takes to make a fossil.